Hey, in this video we'll be using the ProBuilder plugin to build stuff like a pro. So I'm in Unity and I've already installed ProGrids and ProBuilder, and I can see ProGrids immediately, but to get access to ProBuilder I need to go to Tools, ProBuilder, and then select the ProBuilder window. Wouldn't it be nice if it was in the window menu? It's not, it's here. So once that shows up, once you've put this window anywhere, it really doesn't matter where, you'll see in the scene view you get some extra controls at the top. So now you've got object selection mode, which is your normal. This is just choosing objects in your scene, moving them around. But you also get these other selection modes, and this is where it gets crazy. I can select now an object, and if it's just a regular Unity object, one that I've created without ProBuilder or imported or whatever, I can click on ProBuilderize, and that will transform this object into something that ProBuilder can edit. You can also use the new shape tool in ProBuilder, and this lets you choose what kind of shape that's going to be. So it doesn't have to be a cube, but they have a bunch of other options. Stairs. All right. But I'm just going to choose a cube to demonstrate it. All right, build that. And so once you've created an object with ProBuilder, or if you've chosen an existing object and ProBuilderized it, then you can use these other tools. So vertex selection lets me select the corners of this cube. But once you select one of them, notice the gizmo shows up on them, the move tool gizmo. So you can actually move these vertices and change the shape of this object. Now I'm going to disable ProGrids because it's doing it's snapping to the grid, and so it's hard to tell exactly what's happening here. But you can deform and change the shape of these objects and make whatever object that you want. Not just a cube anymore, but I could make a platform or a box or something. This is sort of like if you went to a skate park and you wanted to like transfer over this hip or something, you can set up a cool shape like that. Alright, so more like a pyramid there. You also have edge selection, so instead of selecting individual vertices, you can connect or choose the line that connects vertices, and you can modify that. So moving this around moves that whole edge of geometry. And then you also have face selection, so you can select entire faces of your geometry and mess around with those. So pretty powerful. What I find probably the most useful in ProBuilder is the extrusion feature. So there's an extrude faces option in ProBuilder. You can also hold shift, and when you hold shift it automatically generates geometry. It does an extrusion when you move things. So here's moving this face, and then holding shift and moving the face moves and creates new geometry. It extrudes it. So I can use this with my other tools as well. If I scale this face down, it's going to come closer to a point, but if I scale it using holding shift, it creates new geometry for that scaled shape. So you can do some pretty cool stuff with it. So make some sort of ramp or something going on. Anyway, you can do a lot. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to make a new poly shape. So with new poly shape, you can select vertices And once you're done, press enter, and then it lets you choose the third dimension of this polygonal shape. I'm going to make it go a little bit below this surface. It's going to act like, I guess, the foundation of a level. And then with my vertex selection mode, I can move these around wherever I want, adjust them. I don't know. That's probably fine. And then I can select faces and do other cool stuff with this. Let's say I want to select this face, scale it in just a little bit. Ooh, that's a lot. Alright, well, just to show you what you can do. So scale it just a little bit in, and then I can select those faces that I created. Hold shift to select multiple, and then I can extrude these further and create just this boxed in area pretty easily, pretty quickly. So that's pretty cool. You can also delete geometry. This gets kind of messy because when you start removing faces and such, you might leave gaps between geometry, and dealing with that and making more complex things is better off in a different program like 3ds Max. Alright, you can also mirror your geometry. So if you had a level set up and you wanted to duplicate it, alright, here's something, mirror objects, you can select that. Let me do the further options. Duplicate and mirror. Yeah, there we go. So it mirrors it based on the pivot. So let me see if I can do a better job of changing this. If I go up to the top, there's center. I can switch that to pivot, and you can see where my pivot point is for this piece of geometry. And so when you have grid snapping on, that's the spot that's going to snap to the grid. But if I wanted to change it to a different spot, I have some options. There's an option that's center pivot, which that's sort of just in the middle of nowhere. Doesn't make sense for this object to be center pivot. But I can select a vertex. So let me choose a vertex. Or even, I think I can choose an edge. Let me try that. Because I'd like to choose this edge and then center pivot there. Yeah, that might be better. And then try to mirror that geometry. Not exactly what I wanted. That's fine. Anyway, you get the idea. So you can create very interesting geometry using this, and pretty quickly. So I can create like little boxes for people to move into. Let me choose this face, and let me try subdividing it, which breaks it up into smaller pieces. Can choose another face and subdivide that, and then I can go crazy with these subdivisions. Let me see, move that way. So made just like this little indent in there, but you can make entire rooms and chambers by extruding pieces out. Can be pretty cool. Alright, so I hope you take some time to play around with this tool. There are other ways to kind of view your options here. If you right click in the ProBuilder window, there's an icon mode. So I feel like just looking at a bunch of text is really hard to find what you want, but the icons can help. You can get a better feel for what these do, and you can also open this as a floating window and stick it in there when you're working, so you can always have it open and still inspect objects and mess around with them. Lots of flexibility here. Alright, hope you like that, and take some time to try it out and create some sort of arena or room for your game. See you later.